Prepare to qualify.
Hey there, it's Troy with Prepare to Qualify. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for coming back. It's been a few weeks since I put out a video, so I was kind of trying to search myself and do some research on where I feel like I can best help IndyCar in the upcoming season. I actually took a trip out to Indianapolis for a few days and really enjoyed myself. So I had a little bit to tell you guys about that, but yeah, I'm glad we're back. The crazy thing is that it's been 3 months since we've seen the cars on the track. 3 months. And we still have 3 months to go. So, wow. I mean, it just seems so long. And I know other sports, I mean, look at college football. College football goes by insanely fast. I mean, by the time September rolls around, November is here before you know it. December, and it's over. And that's where we are now. So we're going to have fun with this next year. I'm definitely going to cover some of the racing, but I want to grow the sport. I mean, that's where I really feel, in my gut that every time I see Formula One, just as popular as it is. And I mean, it's a great sport. My gosh. I mean, some of the legends of our sport, like Mario Andretti. I watched the documentary from NBC Sports last night on Drive Like Mario. And oh my gosh, I was in tears. I mean, it was so good. I mean, and to see some of that F1 footage of him when he was early in his career and stuff was just, it was gold. I had never seen it before. And so, I love F1 in a certain way. But I mean, I'm an American, and I grew up watching the Indy 500 and kart or USAC or the Indy Racing League or the where we are today in the NTT IndyCar series. I mean, that's my favorite sport, and it always has been. And it really bothers me that it's been as stagnant as it has been. But then again, I saw some highlights of an old Sunoco car that Townsend Bell had driven back early 2000s, and that one Dallara chassis that was just so crazy looking with the rounded pylons on the side and the wheel things that covered the wheels in the back, and the way that the back fin was just fitted in there where the wheel gaps were. Anyways, it just looked so dumb. I'm just so glad that we made it through that part of our sports history to where we are now, to where the cars are looking pretty cool, and God willing, we'll have a new car soon. But I'm here to grow the sport. That's what I want to do. I want to talk about it. I'm going to try to get to as many races as I can next year. I want to see the sport grow. I know it's never going to be maybe at the level it was back in the 80s and 90s, but I mean, people like the sport, and people like racing again. A lot of the people that like racing don't really understand it very well. But that's okay. They can like it. And it's a great thing to watch. I mean, just hearing the sights and the sounds of the cars is what's the craziest thing. So we're going to talk about the off-season momentum, so social media and how much of it's been coming out. Obviously, we're talking about the Grand Prix of Arlington. I saw an interview by Marshall Pruitt on his podcast with the president of the GP of Arlington, and I thought it was great. So I got an update on that. NASCAR, the TV, F1 TV ratings for the end of the year, just talking a little bit about where both of those were headed that we discussed in previous episodes. Is that I really think that a big part of the growth of IndyCar this year is not only going to be some of the new events, some of the like Phoenix and the Grand Prix of Arlington, but it's going to be the employees of some of the sponsors. I think that's where maybe we're really missing out. We're going to talk a little bit about Team Honda and Team Chevy. We may not get to that in this episode, but we definitely want to cover that here in the next few weeks. We'll talk about my visit to Indianapolis and the IMS Museum. Oh my gosh. It's just the greatest museum. I mean, I was so impressed. I had so much fun. You can't really spend more than a day there, like a full day, but you need to have a full day. If you're an IndyCar fan or F1 fan or NASCAR fan, you really need to, set aside a whole day. You can't just run in and out of there in a couple of hours, because there is a lot of great things. And I'll have some pictures of some of the displays that I that I saw that I enjoyed the most, and just about my experience at the IMS Museum. Also, we'll talk a little bit about the IMS gift store and maybe a few issues that I had there. That's my only complaint, but it's not really a huge one. But we'll talk about that too. And I put a list of all the sponsors in the description of this video, and that might be changing a little bit. There's some sponsor news that just came out today, so that's always going to change. But there's a list of all the main sponsors that I could think of that it's good to have fans know about. If you're in the business world or you're a consumer and you come across their name, hopefully you'll register that and go, wow, I know you guys sponsor a car in my favorite sport, and I appreciate that. That's all you really need to have to say. So there's so many things that we have to be thankful for this holiday season, and Merry Christmas to everyone, by the way. The fact that IndyCar has come a long way, the partnership with Fox, the attendance, the TV ratings, just the overall interest in motorsports in general, including open wheel racing, is something that we have to be thankful for, because we can piggyback off of that and help grow IndyCar. My job over the last 20 or so years is really just to tell people about it, and I have told a lot of people about it. Let me tell you. Some of them have told me, hey, I really appreciate the effort that you're putting in here to try to get me interested in this, but I'm just never going to be interested in it. And there is something to that, obviously. But the momentum we had, we should be thankful for. Thank goodness, like I said, IndyCar's doing a great job with their marketing. They're getting out there. They're hiring the right people. They're putting the name out there. And still, the most important thing that I struggle with the most is the fact that nobody knows what IndyCar is. Think about it. That doesn't make any sense. People know who the Indiana Hoosiers are now, right? People know who the Indianapolis Colts are, or the Indiana Pacers. You mentioned that. Everybody knows who the Indianapolis Pro Team is. But you mention IndyCar, and it's like, what? Oh, is that Formula One? Is that NASCAR? And that is the real main issue here. It's the brand. The brand has zero resonance in anything outside of us and the fans that really love it. And motorsports fans in general obviously know what IndyCar is, but man, everybody else, just the casual sports fan, the casual fan that just likes being competitive or racing, they don't know anything about the greatest racing that you can really see at the highest level, at the fastest speeds that you can go to. Most of the time you can get to a race within a few hours of where you live. And speaking of that, we'll talk about the Arlington Grand Prix next. Is that I saw a video on YouTube about the president of the Arlington Grand Prix. I think his name is Bill Miller. Yes, it was Marshall Pruitt on his podcast that popped up on YouTube, and he had an interview with Bill Miller, who is the president of the Arlington Grand Prix, been with Penske Entertainment off and on throughout the years, has managed some racetracks, including Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. I think he was one of the initial leaders in getting that racetrack going back in the day, and has done various jobs in motorsports, all in promotion, all in creating new types of things, new types of racing leagues, new types of events. So I really think he's the right guy for the job. I was really impressed with him. A few things that he said during the interview that I loved was that they're going to work as hard as they can to make the Grand Prix of Arlington the best event possible. That's their main goal. And they're going to focus on everything and anything that they can control. About the only thing they can't control is the weather or some major incident or something, or the track. Something happens with the track, where pieces of it are coming up, or the fence goes down or something like that. That's really something that you try to get set up, but you can't really control. So what Bill Miller said is that Penske Entertainment is really trying hard to focus on the race and making it the best experience for the fans that do come. Now, the fans that do come are going to be in for a treat. Not only is this the inaugural event, not only is the track going to be cool as hell going through Rangers Globe Life, or no, I forget what the stadium in Rangers, the Rangers Stadium was called now. I think it's still Globe Life Park. I have to check on that. But yeah, that and Cowboy Stadium and just Six Flags over Texas and the whole entertainment area there. I'm from Dallas-Fort Worth originally. So yeah, that's a big deal. And my family's going to be there, and I'll do anything and everything that I can to promote that race. But Bill Miller seems like he's in charge. He's got the right people involved. He said ticket sales were already going well. People from over 50 countries and 40 states in the U.S. have already purchased tickets to the Grand Prix of Arlington. So the good thing about it is that you can get into Dallas-Fort Worth very easily through the airport. Almost everywhere in the world has a direct flight to Dallas-Fort Worth. So, for just the logistics and planning and getting fans in and out, man, that was a great idea. And unfortunately, the race at Texas Motor Speedway I talked about before had its day, and I was one of the first people that started going to it. And I think I told you guys before, I was really, sad when I started seeing the crowds decline, and the racing, was still pretty good. I mean, even though there were issues, but having this Grand Prix of Arlington and having Bill Miller on board and Penske Entertainment, the Cowboys and the Rangers leadership, they got people out promoting the race right now. There's advertisements on Fox NFL during Fox NFL games, during college football games. I saw a couple of advertisements. We had a few of the drivers go to, I think Joseph Newgarden went to a Cowboys game a few weeks ago, and Pato O'Ward had gone to a Rangers game, also Alex Palou had gone to a Rangers game, I think, or a Cowboys game. So, that kind of stuff is great. Just keep doing more and more of that, because the thing is that when you're at Texas Motor Speedway, it's so huge that when you're at an IndyCar race, you really feel like you're just engulfed by the track. It's too big. It's too big for NASCAR. And that's insane. It was basically built during NASCAR's heyday. And at best, I think maybe there was 100,000 fans at a few of the IndyCar races I went to, which was awesome. I mean, which felt, like it was, a great time, and the energy was there. But then as the crowd started, dwindling down a few thousand every year to where I think maybe the last race there might have been 15 or 16,000 people there. It was just sad, but it was just too much. Another genius thing that Bill Miller said is that they're going to allow kids under 12 to be admitted free in the general admission parts of the racetrack. So I'm not quite sure. I'll go over that in the next episode. We'll look at where the general admission areas are in the track layout, and where you can get your kids in free. If the adults buy tickets, and they're going to be reasonable in the general admission area, then your kids get in free. So bring them, have a great time. I mean, hopefully the weather will be nice, but yeah, I'm really excited about the Arlington Grand Prix. I think it's going to be an awesome event. I mean, and like I said, what Penske Entertainment says, they're focusing more on the event than the attendance, especially during the first race. It's like, if they get a good crowd out there, which they will, they'll get a good crowd. Now, will it be sold out? Maybe, maybe not. But they're going to get a good crowd out there. I know, because people are interested in it. I can just feel the vibe from my friends up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that, it's an event. And when you add the Cowboys and the Rangers into it, man, everybody's in. So that was genius idea to do that. Anyways, talking about the NASCAR ratings and, the fact that the playoffs really don't add any, excitement or interest to the sport. You're going into fall. I mean, would I like IndyCar to be a little bit longer in the season? Yes. But do I know that when football starts, that IndyCar is going to be relegated to the, they used to say back of the sports page, and that's what's going to happen for the most part. But I don't know what the solution is for NASCAR, but I do know that the playoffs really aren't making an impact on anybody as far as like TV ratings or fan interest. And, maybe it's time to just go back to the original point system or come up with a system like maybe college football has, to where there's a ranking, every week. Can you imagine of the 40, 50 drivers in NASCAR, if you had a ranking system like college football, how much argument you would have going on? That might be a little bit too much. But anyways, now F1, the ratings have gone up almost every race, all throughout the year, even through the little swing here where they went through Austin, where I live now, and Las Vegas. The crowds were huge. The ratings were up. The fan merchandise sales are insane. And what that stuff costs is unbelievable. I mean, like I said, it makes you appreciate what you have in IndyCar. When you can go to a race, take your family for a few $100 or whatever, grab some sodas and a few hot dogs and some popcorn and get home for a few $100 and get a few shirts. Well, you can't even buy one shirt at the F1 race for less than $150. I mean, they're insane. I don't know how they do it. But you got to give them credit. They have gotten the world interested. And that might be a lot of it. It is a world championship, and I get that. I mean, IndyCar's never going to, the breadth of IndyCar's reach as far as their fan base and their brand awareness and stuff are never going to be what Formula One is. And, the old adage, if you can't beat them, join them. So, I mean, I finally just got to the point to where I was like, I'm just going to like NASCAR. I can't compete with it all the time. I got tired of trying to talk people into reasons why the IndyCar was better than NASCAR. And I just decided to be a fan. I mean, and that's a good thing. Motorsports is a community. And there are a lot of people that cross over to different series. I mean, a lot of the people that started in karting and went to sprint car or went to running different kinds of cars in different series, around the world, and then came back. I mean, we're lucky to have some big time series here. I mean, we have 3 Formula One races. We got a huge stock car series. We got a huge open wheel series. And then you got all the sports car stuff and the endurance stuff with IMSA and everything. I mean, being a motorsports fan in America is a great thing. And I think we just all need to stick together. I mean, as one of these sports grows, so can the others, because race fans are race fans. You just got to get them interested in a new car. Speaking of that, one thing I did want to mention is I received this wonderful McLaren Dallara super speedway model from Felix Rosenquist. I have a friend of mine at church that is a huge F1 fan and a huge McLaren fan. He's a young guy, like a lot of them are, and I've been really trying to get him to focus more on IndyCar, and he's been checking it out a little bit more, but man, this is really gonna get him because it's just nothing like these. I think we talked about it before. I want to get into a whole diecast conversation because I can go on for hours, but yes. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about what I mentioned earlier about the sponsors. And originally I had decided to gear this entire channel towards sponsorship and aiding those sponsors in increasing their revenue, which is what I thought that every sponsor would obviously want to do, because I'm from the corporate world and I was in sales my whole life. That's all we did. Is like I said, you do good one year, guess what? You do better the next year, and then even better the next year, and it's a cycle like that never ends and stuff. And so I just figured when you spent a few $1 million on sponsorship to have your logo on the side of a race car, that you would want to have certain things like promotional events, just tie-ins to like different types of advertising partnerships, anything like that. Things at the racetrack that you see that are, a dual promotion between the team and the sponsor. You can get new windshield wiper blades at from Rain-X or whatever, and Rain-X is the sponsor of one of the cars, that kind of thing. That's what I thought every sponsor wanted, and it's not true. I went to Indianapolis for a few days. I went around and talked to some of the sponsors, and some of them were interested in having more people know about them, and others really weren't. They just were happy that they got their logo on the side of a car, and that was cool to them. And that's great. If you have that kind of money and you worked hard your whole life to get to a certain level and you want to use that money to spend on sponsoring a race car because that's your thing and you think it's cool, then oh my gosh, more power to you. I mean, what a great life, right? It's just, like I said, every one of these sponsors has different reasons for sponsoring a car. Again, that's what my goal is going to be, to try to have fun with it. I really think that the most important part of this next year, as far as growing the sport, where the biggest opportunity is, like I said, is some of the sponsors and their employees. I mean, the employees love doing things that they know. Say, you work for Chevrolet and there is the Chevrolet Michigan 500, which, oh my gosh, at Michigan International Speedway. Would that not be the greatest? I was thinking Michigan Stadium because I had just heard some stuff about the coach at Michigan. But anyways, how great would that be? The Chevrolet 500 at Michigan International Raceway. That kind of thing. The people that work at Chevrolet dealerships, I talk to them. They love that kind of stuff. They love it when, there's a race in town and, IndyCar or Formula One, where it goes to all of the Home Depots or whatever is associated with that sponsor and makes a little, hey, here's for your employees. They get an extra, 15% off at the gift store if they buy 3 tickets. Just make little promotional things for our sponsors and their employees. They really like that kind of stuff, and it shows goodwill toward the sponsor, and it builds long-term relationships. There's a camaraderie there where we take care of you, you take care of us. As I said, hence the whole win-win thing. But I really think that's where a big opportunity is. And if I was in marketing for IndyCar, and I would love to be one day, who knows? But I think that's maybe a project that you could hire one person for and have them just take off with it, and grow the amount of people that come to the races, as well as grow the people that watch on TV. Just think how much opportunity there is to get people from our sponsors that are employees of these companies to watch the race on TV. I mean, you just get a few good sponsors to have a few hundred extra employees watch the race. Again, you're talking about numbers that add up pretty quickly, and and so that's what I'm talking about there. Just think about that, and like I said, maybe somewhere where IndyCar can grow in the future. Okay, so I did get to go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. One thing I did notice while I was standing in front of the IMS Museum is that, guess what? The turns at Indy are banked, okay? I swear, when you go to the race or when you watch it on TV, those turns look absolutely flat, especially if you're used to watching NASCAR every once in a while on a high banked oval. And you see, Indy. I mean, the first few times I was like, how do these cars not literally take off and fly out of the race track, into the stands or outside of the, of the grounds? I mean, it's like the turns have no banking, and the car's going, 200 and something, almost 200 when it hits the turn most of the time, or even more than that. So, there is banking in the turns. I know it's 6 degrees or something like that. Where like Talladega is like 20, but when you're standing at the IMS Museum and you're looking at the 2 turns, turn 1 and turn 2, you can definitely see the banking. You can see the angle of the track. And so I really thought that was cool. And like I said, just something I hadn't noticed. And by all means, the IMS, the new museum is so great. I'm going to put up a bunch of pictures. I mean, you can see them coming up now of the different displays. I mean, they had cars from, all generations. The good thing about Indianapolis is that you got the history. And so as soon as you walk in the door, you see, these different garages set up for different times in America's history. And so the TV's in there, the refrigerators in the shop where the car is that's on display. Say it's from 1920 to 1930 to 40 to 50, 60. It has things in the shop about that time. And I really thought that was cool. And then after that, you walk right in that big area where you have these holographic type things to where you feel like you're in the Indy 500. And I posted some of that whenever I got back, but I'll put it back. And if you haven't seen that before, I mean, there's other people obviously that have taken video of that before, but man, it just makes that, the hair, little hairs on your arms, stand up when you're standing there and you feel like you're on the front row of the Indy 500 and you're about to start the race. So, that was something that was really cool. I love that. And then you get into the bigger area where there's 3 floors where you got some stock cars and Brickyard 400 memorabilia and cars. And the good thing about this museum is that it has the cars. I mean, the cars are there, the actual cars, that won the race. I mean, the great thing is that they've held on to all these cars. So this car was entered into the 1968 Indy 500 and was close to the year of my birth, which is pretty cool. And I definitely started noticing the stickers for logos to be placed on the sides of the cars. Obviously now there's a lot more technology as far as paint is concerned, but yeah, originally you just paid a few $100 to have your sticker put on the car. Hey everyone, it's Troy from Prepare to Qualify. Today I'm in Indianapolis at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. Just got finished going through Gasoline Alley, which gives you like a chronological look at the cars that have evolved since 1914. It's just amazing, some of the technology and innovations just within like a few years. And also it's amazing to see what some of the drivers drove, at 150 miles an hour as far as safety wise, and the reason why the sport was so dangerous back in the early days. Now I'm going to get to the one thing I have to complain about before we leave is that, I said I love the diecast, and obviously they're, expensive. The little ones are, $8 to $10, and the big ones are, $50 to $60. And, I understand that. I know how to run a store, okay? I was a retail store manager for many, many years. And so I understand that the gift shop at Indianapolis Museum can't just buy 1,000 of each one of the driver's cars every year and have it there on display for people to buy. But you could have a few more than 10. I mean, I get finished with the Indianapolis Museum and I am on a high like I have never before. I got money that people have given me knowing that I'm coming to Indy to get them either a Pato Award shirt or, a Chip Ganassi this or a Java House this. And, depending upon who their favorite driver is. And I get to the IMS Museum gift shop and all there is stuff about the Indy 500. And believe me, I get it. If it weren't for the Indy 500, none of us would be here even talking about this because it's the king of all kings that we have. And we're so lucky to have it. But my gosh, I mean, when it's not Memorial Day weekend, most people don't care about the Indy 500. They care about if they like the Indy 500, then they mostly like the series. So I went up to Indy to go to the Indianapolis Museum. I did. I loved it. Like I said, greatest thing. It's a bucket list thing. You've got to go. But then I get to the gift shop and there's no team gear hardly at all. There's a few shirts from Arrow McLaren. There's a few shirts from Penske, a few from Chip Ganassi. There's random drivers here and there. As far as just a few here and there, there's hardly any team gear. There are hardly any diecast. So I go to the manager of the store and I'm like, hey, I'm started this channel. I'm trying to promote, IndyCar to make it bigger. And the diecasts are a huge way that you can get fans interested. People love them. They're great things to just give as gifts or whatever to someone who might be a fan or already a fan. So I was like, can you order a few more and I'll put it, out on my website and my show, basically so that people can, will know where to get their favorite driver diecast. And they looked at me like I was insane. They're like, what? I'm like, I'm here, but I also want to buy some like team fan gear. I don't want to just buy everybody for Christmas an Indy 500 hat or shirt or sweatshirt. I mean, other than, like I said, Memorial Day weekend, who really cares about wearing Indy 500 merchandise around. You want to wear Pato Award merchandise around. You want to wear, Scott McLaughlin merchandise around, or Joseph Newgarden. You don't want to just wear generic Indy 500 stuff around. And that's all that the museum has. So then I say, okay, I get in my rental car and I get in the car thinking that I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm not. And I go to the team shops, one by one, the biggest ones. Now I know Penske is located in Mooresville, North Carolina, because I went there and I lived there for a few years. So I know how the whole NASCAR thing works. If you go to a team shop in Charlotte, North Carolina, or north of Charlotte, any of the shops, Gibbs, Hendrick, Childress, Richard Childress, RCR, you go to any of them. And the first thing you're going to do is see their gift shop with all of their drivers, with coffee mugs, with pens, with little eraser things, with phone covers, with anything that anybody would want that would have to do with their team. That's what you're going to see first before you would even see any of the cars on display. Well, none of the IndyCar teams had one thing. I mean, the only team that was even remotely nice, well, two of them. Chip Ganassi let me come in and let me sit there and take a picture of Scott Dixon's number 9 car. I forget what year it was, but it wasn't maybe the one that won it wasn't the one Indy 500. It's an older one, but it's painted like with the PNC Bank logo and stuff like that. They let me take pictures of that and everything and the trophies. But I was like, okay, well, where's the gift shop? They're like, well, we don't have a gift shop. I'm like, what? Like, something is, like I said, that's just really weird to me. Someone from the business world who's trying to promote something, and the resources available at my fingertips to help promote this is just almost like null and void. Like, how can there not be any merchandise at the team shops? Again, Charlotte, if you go to Charlotte and you're a NASCAR fan, even the small teams have a whole huge gift shop. And they don't just have NASCAR things, they have stuff with their drivers. So IndyCar is so far behind on this. And this is where, the brand name IndyCar has really got to resonate with people sometime really soon while this momentum is going on, or we're going to lose the opportunity and never get it back. So come on, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I love you more than anything in the world. But man, the gift shop there at the museum has got to be updated with a bigger fan area. I mean, with other, at least the top 10 to 15 drivers at the end of the year in points. I mean, have some stuff in there for people to buy. That's what's going to get them interested. Not leaving the IMS museum with their IndyCar IMS hat and their generic IndyCar shirt. Nobody wears it like that anymore. Like, people want the actual fan gear, like the teams wear. That's why F1 is so popular. Okay, that's it. That's all I want to say about it. Well, I know it was a lot, but I'm sorry. But that was my little rant for the day. But yes, thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad that you came back. I hope to be able to do this, every week now from now on, and grow the sport. Have a great season next year. I'm so excited about it. We're lucky to have what we have, and thank you to everybody at IndyCar, all the people, social media content creators that have paved the way for people like me that kept me interested in the sport when I could have easily died off and stopped caring. But I do care. I care a lot, and I appreciate you caring. So thank you. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you next week.
Prepare to qualify.